Hi, I'm Liv, and I am here to tell you about a Thrifty Notion's January featured fabrics collection. These are the fabrics we think are extra special, and so we take the time to do a little video showing them off so you can kind of get an idea of the drape and maybe any special qualities they might have. So, January, yay! It's like this letdown after the holiday season, and it's also like there's so much winter left. But also like there's these weirdly warm days where you're just like, that's not okay. Yeah, it's interesting. But the January collection is, I think, my favorite. I say that about a lot of them, but like this creamy colorway with pops of like kind of foresty, mossy green. It's just like calm and soothing and peaceful and cozy. So anyway, I guess that's the ramble. Let's get started talking about fabrics. So we'll start with like synthetics. There's only one this time. Like we are extra fancy this month. This is a crepe chiffon. This one's called Inviting. Kind of just did a cozy, homey theme for the names this month. So this is just a really fluid crepe fabric, fairly sheer, excellent for dresses and skirts. Like, look how swishy. Also blouses, just pretty swishy things. This is beautiful for that. And it's kind of this paisley and floral pattern, just pretty. Okay, we have a couple of cottons. Really, like, all of these are the fancier fibers, and we have a lot of them this month. Okay, so this is just a shot cotton shirting. So nice and lightweight, basically kind of like a lawn. Shot cotton just means that there's one color of thread going one way and another color of thread going the other way. It's a yarn dyed. So the yarn is dyed first and then woven together. So this one has a brown going one way and green going the other, and you get this nice mossy color with this amazing drape. Perfect for shirts, but also you could do skirts and dresses and anything breezy that you want to make out of cotton. This is a cotton called Abundance, and it's a sateen, which means it's woven in a way that makes it a little bit shiny, a little bit fancy. This is really pretty, kind of big, bold, modern looking floral. And I can't remember, I think it might be a stretch cotton, so I need to check. So it is not stretchy in this direction, but whoa, so stretchy. Yeah, it's actually quite stretchy in the other direction. So gives you a little bit of ease, like in the shoulders. I have broad shoulders, so I like a little bit of ease in the shoulders. Then it's not so confining. Sometimes button-ups feel a little too tight. I don't like them. I like them loose and flowy. We're gonna do wools next. This one's interesting. So it came with this little piece of paper, and it says, we now call these the Shrinky Dink fabrics and have been experimenting with shrinkage. Here are our findings. The fabric shrinks about 50% in length and width. To keep the overall shrinkage texture more uniform, machine baste the fabric folded along the selvage and at the cut edge, and toss it in the washer and dryer. So you're going to take a wool fabric on purpose. Before you sew it up, you're going to sew the raw edges together, throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer, and it shrinks to half of its size. But when it does that, it gets all crinkly and like very textured and thick. You're felting it on purpose, essentially. And what that person in the note did was make vests out of it. And I think that's a great idea. So if you decide to just use this as a regular sweater knit, which you can totally do, you will need to make sure you do not accidentally wash and dry it on a normal cycle, because you will not be able to wear it once you're done. This is actually, it's like a double gauze. The way it's knit is 2 layers that are kind of stitched together just like a double gauze. So it's going to be on purpose kind of pillowy and puffy and crinkly like a double gauze if you decide to wash it, which basically you should just do. You should just do that because then it's safe. It's already been washed and dried. It's done shrinking. Then whatever you make is going to be what it is. So if you want to like live dangerously, give this one a try. Its name is lichen. Okay, this is a very, very lightweight wool called At Ease. And you can see it's sheer and very fluid. Really nice for something like a skirt. You could do a blouse out of this. It's not terribly itchy. You'd want to wear probably a camisole or something, but it's very smooth. It's just a beautiful, beautiful wool fabric. So get to thinking on that dress or skirt. I would think like a nice gathered skirt would just be the best out of this because it's so breezy and flowy. It would breathe, but then it would also keep you warm. It's just, wool is magical. All right, this one's called Nesting, and it's just like a regular wool suiting. So it's kind of got this houndstooth houndstooth pattern woven in. This is very soft. Like I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of cashmere or something in here. We don't know, but it's very, very nice suiting. Very soft, beautiful drape on this. So again, trousers, vests, you could do a skirt, you could do a jacket. Just a very nice wool here. All right, let's get into the rayons. So this looks like corduroy. It's not quite corduroy. It's a rayon. Corduroy is usually cotton or like a cotton blend. This is way more fluid than a regular corduroy. So you can see like it's just got some great drape. So you can do stuff with this that you wouldn't do with a regular corduroy. You can do more like skirts that are a little more flowy and gathered. You can do something like a wide leg trouser that'll have some swish to it when you're walking around. You could do a dress, all kinds of fun stuff. It's a nice medium weight, slightly chunkier rayon. Another rayon, this one's called Toasty. It's a sand washed rayon. So it's kind of got this soft, kind of faded looking finish on it. We just love this drapey fluid rayon. It's fun. Wide leg trouser, dress, blouse, something that's swishy. Okay, this one's called Grounded. It's another like rayon blend suiting. So it's a twill weave and it's got this great drape to it. So again, suiting is for making the parts of a suit. This one's called Blissful and we've got a whole bunch of it. This is a rayon crepe. So it's got kind of a more, not rough, but like bumpy. I don't know. It's a crepe texture. It's kind of crinkly looking. Fluid, floaty. This is your all-purpose workhorse dress. Like make a dress out of this and then layer it up for cold weather and wear it as is for warm weather. Lovely, floaty stuff. Okay, our last rayon, same as the other lighter weight ones that I was talking about. This one's called Solace. Oops. And it is just this beautiful mossy green. Fluid drape, do all the floaty swishy things. Linen. This is just a nice natural looking medium weight linen. It's called Porridge. It's actually pretty chunky. It's kind of a heavier linen as far as for clothing. This one would be great for trousers or even something like a suit. Honestly, you could do a jacket out of this. It's nice and sturdy. This one's called Olive Branch. Slightly more sheer and it's got a little more slubby look to it. It's got some of those little darker pieces that natural linen has in it that just make it look more earthy. But this one will wash up really nicely and be good for things like button-up shirts. This one's called Sublime. It's a herringbone weave. Again, button-up shirt. You could also do like a trouser or skirt out of this one. Nice drape on this. This one's called Amity. And again, kind of a natural color linen, but this one has a metallic gold pinstripe in it that makes it just a little bit more dressy. So again, a wide leg trouser would be gorgeous out of this. Also, just things like tank tops would be real pretty. I'm tempted to take some of this home with me because now I want a tank top. All right, y'all, I don't know what it is about January, but we have silk. So much silk. All right, so we have some slubby, raw, like natural silk, sometimes called piece silk. Just a little bit rougher. It's kind of like unbleached cotton in that there's little slubby bits and like little pieces of fiber from the little cocoons that add some texture and slubbiness, and it's just good stuff. This is also vintage. So this is called Cozy Nook, and it's only like 38 inches wide, so it is not standard width fabric, but this is soft but not smooth like a satin silk. It's got texture to it. It wears really nicely and is pretty durable. So for things like a jumper or other kind of basic, I don't know, basic dress, sort of very simple dresses are nice out of this stuff. This one's called Retreat. It is more of that same kind of silk, although this one is just slightly heavier weight and a little more opaque. So this one would be more like for a trouser or like a heavier dress. Try to see what the width is on this. This is also not a standard width. It's more like 38, 40-ish, but nice and chunky. You could also use this for home deck, and if you wanted to, you could also dye this if you wanted to add a little more color to it. But dresses would also be good out of this, something a little more fall or winter. You could also do something like a boxy woven top out of it. Lots of possibilities here. Okay, here's the fancy stuff. This one's called Heavy Cream, and it is a crepe silk. So it's got this beautiful kind of frosty sheen and shimmer to it. Very pretty, fluid drape. We don't have very much of this one. So, Heavy Cream. Blouses really are your best thing out of this, or things like lingerie. This one's called Spiced Milk. It's more of like a crepe chiffon. You can see it's just extremely lightweight, somewhat sheer, and very fluid. So just a beautiful drape on this. Definitely things like lingerie or just a very nice blouse. All right, this one is called Buttered Toast, and it is a rayon silk blend. So it's more like 90% rayon, 10% silk. So there's not a ton of silk in here, but there is enough to just give it a nice sheen. This is very soft. It has a nice drape. Definitely you could get a dress out of this, or a skirt or a blouse. Like it's a little heavy for a blouse, so it'd be something more like a winter or fall sort of thing. You could also do something like a cardigan, like a drapey cardigan out of this would be really nice. This is just so soft and lovely. Big fan. It's very, I don't know, it's got a golden glow to it. That's just beautiful. All right, so these are the same fabric, but we did a test piece. So this one's been pre-washed because this was on a long roll bolt, like a tube, a cardboard tube. And it was sitting, apparently it got wet at some point at one edge. So there is one selvage edge on this, and it's not through the whole piece of fabric, but one selvage just has a little bit of a watermark along the, right at the selvage. Like you can't really even see it, but it's on here. It only goes in about a half an inch or so. So we washed it to see if that would come out, and it seems to have come out. So we have two options when you buy this. You can get the pre-washed piece, which could use some ironing, or you can just get the as is. But this, I don't want to let go of this, but I honestly don't know what I would make out of it. It's gorgeous. So it's this beautiful botanical bird print, beautiful muted colors. We have a fair amount of yardage here. It's crisp. It's not super fluid, but you could make a gorgeous gown out of this. You could also use it for home deck, something like a curtain. You could also do something like a really beautiful blouse or a dress. Like it's sturdy, but it is kind of a lighter weight. Lots of possibilities. I would love to see what people make out of this. Like even if you're not on socials, tag us if you're on socials. But if you finish a project out of this, please send pictures via email, because I want to know what happens to this one. I want to follow her out into the world and see what she becomes. So anyway, this one is called Tranquility, and this is our final fabric for this month. Happy sewing.